Welcome to another video from Rennie Foresights. Today we're going to look at things that you want to consider before you start to use a blockchain. Why would you use a blockchain? You would use a blockchain because this is a great way to learn how blockchain technology works. If you want to know how something works, using it is just about the best way to learn. But before you do this, there's some things that you want to consider. One of the early things that you could consider is, how will I be able to record the transactions that I'm doing on this network? So that would be finding out what kind of tax software you could use and what method you would use to record those transactions with that software. Another thing would be, how will I store these funds? Because when you go to use a blockchain, this means that you're now transitioning from being on an exchange in this traditional environment that people are used to, where the actual exchange holds all your funds, or in traditional finance, we're talking about banks and brokerages holding everything, to a platform where you are starting to do some of this yourself. You're actually interacting yourself. And we actually do this too. We did this with cash in the wallet, right? It was managed in different ways. A lot of people just carry normal cash in their pocket that is for daily use, and then they store the bulk of it in a bank account. This is something that's not foreign to people getting into this space, but it's very personal. You need to decide how you will handle this yourself. You can look at things like multi-signature or hardware wallets, or just writing the words down on a piece of paper, a mnemonic phrase. It all kind of depends how much you're looking to do. There's as well social recovery. That's something that you'd have to Google. Maybe I'll cover another video about that in the future. What is social recovery? After you've kind of decided what does this storage look like, how will you facilitate that storage, then you need to move on to what network would you use. That's going to decide what you need to pay the fees, how much the fees are going to be, and what you're going to learn. How many things are you going to have to interact with? You might be able to get lesser fees but less learning because there's less things to use. Or you might be able to do the opposite, and maybe you're paying really high fees but there's a lot of things to use. And depending on your circumstance, maybe one makes more sense over the other depending on the total amount of money that you're doing. To give an example, somebody who's looking to do this on a scale of $100,000 versus somebody who's looking to do this on the scale of $50, 1 cent fee versus a $50 fee are going to have substantial differences in impact on that individual. This is something that needs to be considered. It's ideal to kind of start in this small range, because when you're starting out, there's many mistakes that you could make. Like, you could accidentally send more than you intended to, or you could click on the wrong thing, or you could go to a fake scam website and send your funds to that and find out later. A different alternative to actually using any of these networks with any monetary value, though it takes a little bit more time and effort, is to use test networks. So you can actually go online, find a test version of whatever it is you're using. You can get funds from what's called a faucet. So basically it's free funds that have zero value, but the funds of that test blockchain. And when you get those funds, you then use those funds to transfer on that actual blockchain. So you're getting like a simulated environment in which you can use it. Even more technical, if you wanted to look into it, you can actually run a blockchain on your own computer, and you could mess around with that. That's a little bit more technical. It's definitely substantially easier to use a testnet than to try to run your own blockchain on your own computer. But I've done both, and both are interesting approaches to trying things out. Then what can we look at after that? What kind of platforms on these blockchains would you like to try using, and where are they? So if you're looking to play games, then you're going to want to go where the games are. So you're going to want to look at what games you're interested in, and then you're going to want to go play those games. Or, for example, maybe you're looking to do savings and lending. Maybe you're looking for a collateralized loan. Then you're going to want to go and find platforms that have been audited and are running this savings and lending. Ideally, you're going to start with platforms that have been around the most amount of time and have the largest amount of funds locked in them. The reason for having these large amount of funds and amount of time is if someone was going to hack this and they were going to make money from hacking it, the biggest target over the largest amount of time is kind of the most obvious target. And if no one was able to hack the biggest target over the longest amount of time, then there's some level of security already defined just in that metric alone. And then another option would be maybe you just want to trade from one thing to the other. So you're looking for a DEX. So you just go on and you find where's the most opportune DEX to use on a network that meets my network requirements that I've already defined, and then try that. You take this kind of coin and you convert it to this kind of coin. By doing that, pay attention to what's happening. You can learn about the fees. You can learn about slippage. You can learn about liquidity pools. You can learn about how all these different pieces interact. Knowing about liquidity pools right now is a really important, really interesting skill to have. Most people don't understand liquidity pools. Most people are used to what are called order books, where you have a bid and an ask. Many people in traditional finance understand that. They don't understand where a bunch of money's been pooled together to create this facilitation of trading back and forth. So you're actually gaining a valuable skill by learning these things. You could also try going chain to chain. So you're learning things like, how do I bridge my funds from chain A to chain B? And what does that look like? Or maybe there's a roll-up on that chain. So you're going from a layer 1 to a layer 2 and then back again, or some sort of mixture of that. Knowing how to do these things, how to use different products, will give you a really well-rounded knowledge. Another thing that you could do with a blockchain, which was one of the things that I did really early on, was pool mining. Okay, this is not to be mixed up with solo mining. This is some misunderstanding that I see some people have with mining sometimes. Having your own computer run like one GPU and then expecting that you're going to go and mine some coin at this point in time is pretty unlikely. Unless you like make a version of your own coin and you're the only one mining it, then that'll work. Or you're running that local network, like I mentioned, you're actually running your own blockchain on your own computer and then you're simulating mining it. That will also work. But if you want to mine from an actual blockchain, meaning that you get the block reward or a piece of the block reward from processing transactions, then you need to do what's called pool mining. This means that you take the power of your computer processing and you mix that with the computer processing of many, many other people in a pool. And by putting all of your computational energy together, kind of as a team, then you get rewards. This creates two things. It creates stable rewards. So that reward could be like a penny a day, or it could be more. It's hard to say exactly how much that reward will actually be. It depends on your processing power. You're just a portion of the team. You get a percentage reward each time they, as a whole, get the block reward. Another thing that you could do is you could look at something like proof of stake. So you're running your own validator and you're staking, or delegated proof of stake. So you actually take funds, you put them on the blockchain, you go down the list of stakers and you pick one and you delegate to that one. That's another thing that you could learn how to do. Alright, this has been another video from Rennie Forsyths. I hope this has given you some ideas of things that you could try out, learn how to do using blockchain. Please like the video, comment below if you have any more questions about some things that you'd like to try or you'd like to learn about. Also, subscribe if you'd like to watch some more video content like this. Keep putting out new videos, and looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you, and goodbye.